Welcome to the Media Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadebonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And it was a fun weekend for me, Kenton. I was over at Icon. It's called Winterfest, which is a small anime convention. Do you like anime?
But it's fine.
It's fine, okay.
But did they change the name from Icon?
No, Icon. See, what it is, it's a smaller event. Icon is the big convention. It's the anime convention here in Winnipeg, and it happens in July. Winterfest is a small one-day event. It's just a smaller mini version of Icon, and they still hold it at the convention center, but it's in a different space. And it's just a day. It goes from noon till like 1 a.m. because they have a dance at the end of it, and they have a whole thing going on. And I was there for promoting FanQuest, and Billy was there too. Our producer, Shaw TV, was there for outreach. And it was fun. It was like lots of dedicated people. A lot of people love anime. It's kind of funny to me how popular anime is, yet it still feels like a niche thing. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's? Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
It's not in the mainstream at all.
Even when it used to be when we were in DVD world, the section was pretty slim. And but it appealed to a very niche audience.
We had a pretty robust anime section at Blockbuster when I worked there, and I remember, but they never rented. It was like never ever rented out. There was like one or two people who come in and rent, and then of course the procedure at Blockbuster is that if something doesn't rent more than like 2 or 3 times in a year, we sell it off. So one year we just sold off the entire anime section, those DVDs, for super cheap, and one guy came in and bought the whole thing, and he was like set. He's like, "That's awesome, I'm done." So. Yeah. Anyway, but it was great event. So hats off to the organizers of Icon and Winterfest. Super nice people. They do a phenomenal job. I look to them for how to organize FanQuest as far as like just the way they do things and the communication and everything seems really, really well put together. So
excellent. Well, I was gonna say one time I went to Cinematography. And the movie, and this has happened to me maybe 5 times in my life. It's happened way too often. When I get the schedule wrong, it's my fault, not Cinematography, but they have a robust list of movies that play at different times.
Sure, yep.
And so I would show up and go, oh, I'm going to watch this movie, and then a different movie, which I would actually have paid to see.
Oh.
And one of my famous ones, I don't remember what I went to see, but I went to see a movie, and the movie starts, and it's clearly, I was like, this must be the animated cartoon before the film.
Yes.
And it was not. It was a feature-length anime and called Ghost in the Shell.
Oh my God, really? Oh, yeah. That would have been a great one to see.
Well, and so I was like, well, that was pretty good. Maybe I do like anime. And then everything I've read after that is really the greatest one ever was Ghost in the Shell. And I was kind of like, wow, the one that I accidentally saw was the best one of all time. And so on one hand, it sort of inspired me to seek out more. On the other hand, with everybody saying how great that one is, I was like, well, if I've seen the best one.
There's still a lot of other good ones. Akira, I'm sure you've seen Akira. That's probably also widely hailed as one of the best ones. Plus the Miyazaki Studio Ghibli films. Yeah. Those are also.
I'm aware of all those, but I don't. Okay. And I might have seen like bits and pieces of those, but I've never really, I've never made it my mission in life to see all.
Well, a lot of those came out while as a Blockbuster, so I did read like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away and all those films. But it's a lot of fun. I'm not into what gets me is the fringe. Like there's tons of series and all kinds of little weird. I don't want to say weird in a negative way, but just fringe kind of fandoms. Like you can walk through that con and not recognize any cosplay because you don't know any of these characters. The only ones I recognized were any Pokemon or Sailor Moon related stuff because that's pretty much all I know as far as anime goes. But a fun time was had by all. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here, but
a fun time was had by all. That's great. That's every school newspaper in the world.
Yeah.
And was a fun time was had by all.
And it is true.
Period.
Okay, let's get into the nerd news. Nerd News is sponsored by FanQuest, a fan convention happening June 23rd and 24th. Go to fanquestcon.com for more information. There's a new social media platform taking the world by storm, Kenton. I mentioned this to you yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you taken a look at it since then?
No, but I tweeted a joke where I said I invented my own social media where it automatically blocks everybody on Earth so nobody sees your post. And that's that was based on me seeking out what you told me about and seeing how this app works.
Yeah.
Take it away.
It's not a great app functionally right now. So the app's called Veero. If you haven't heard of it, it's like the new kind of thing. It follows a long list of social media apps that have attempted to break through, including ELLO, which was one a couple of years ago that everyone was saying was going to be the next Facebook. This one is one people are saying is going to be the next Facebook. I'm seeing a lot of friends, mostly my kind of creative inclined friends, so artists and that kind of stuff, are people joining it. But they're saying, add me on Veero. I've had it for a couple of days. It's really not working very well. I got to say, they keep saying, oh, it's in beta. But I actually did a little research, and this company's been around since 2015, and this app's been out for a while now. It's just starting to kind of gain some steam now.
Because there was an article, right?
Yeah, well, there's been a couple of articles, and so the thrust of it is that people are jumping on board. There's a lot of people who really enjoy it, who enjoy the idea behind it. So some of the things it boasts is that there's no algorithm. It's all just straight chronological feed. They say they don't take any more information than they need, although they're very vague about what that means. So I don't know if that means that. I don't know, what information do they need? They don't really say. And what's the other thing? It's trying to, and of course the feature, which kind of is stealing a little bit from the Google Plus thing, but you're allowed to choose the audience for each of your posts. So there's close friends, acquaintances are the three things, or there's just following, and you can choose who sees whatever. Like, so I can just send something out to my close friends, just send something out to acquaintances or everybody. And so that's kind of their gimmick as far as like what makes them different from everything else. But at the same time, it's pretty much circles. It's the exact same thing as circles on Google Plus, because you could do that. So it's been kind of interesting, and I've just been kind of watching the discussion online and trying to use the app.
There was a day when everybody, including you, was posting their profile. The fact
that
they were on
I took a image, and that's
on Instagram.
And that's the again, one of the negatives that this is the way you add people, is you have to tell people you're on it, and then they have to go and search you on it. There's no code or anything. Like Snapchat makes it easy because you can just scan the code, or you can just look in your contacts. A lot of social media apps have like a Facebook thing plugged in, so you can see all of your Facebook contacts or even email contacts on there, which I do think this has limited functionality for. But like I downloaded it, I turned it on, and it took like 3 or 4 attempts to even post something, which I found frustrating. Ooh. So there's a lot of glitches going on right now, and maybe it's just because there's so much traffic and so many people are jumping on board. What I think this all really means is that the end may be nigh for Facebook. I think people are sick of Facebook. They're getting a lot of backlash because of the election thing, the Russians using Facebook to meddle with the election. Also, of course, YouTube is also having its own issues with advertising there and delivering ads effectively and appropriate content. But I really do think that this is actually coming at a time when people really do want something else. So will it? I don't think this is going to be it. It's just too poorly executed to be successful.
Yeah.
Plus, the CEO of this company has all kinds of skeletons in his closet. I'm not going to get into it, but you can just look it up and see this guy has not been above the board his entire life. In fact, he spends most of his life below the board. I don't know.
Under the boardwalk?
Under the boardwalk. That's right, like Bette Midler said. So anyway, just I wanted to mention that Veero. It's, if people are on it, you can add me, Dan Vadebonker. You can search me out if the search function works. Go ahead and add me. The only thing I noticed about it, the other thing I noticed is that people are calling it an Instagram clone. I don't agree with that. I don't think it looks anything like Instagram, and it allows you to post. The thing is, it doesn't allow you to just say something. You have to post content to post. So whether that be a link or a video or a music or a movie or whatever, it gives you a bunch of different options. So it's like, okay, so the other day I was watching Shape of Water, and I said, okay, I'm watching Shape of Water. There it is. That's all I said. And then somebody commented under it, so I got my first comment on Veero, but woohoo.
And then that was that?
That was that. That was it.
That might be it.
So
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't enjoy it, but I just think it's an interesting time, and I really do hope somebody gets their stuff together so that we can actually have a viable Facebook replacement. I think if Google Plus came out now, they'd actually have a shot at it.
It shows that there's a hunger for something else.
And when Google Plus came out at the time, it was like 2011. Facebook was at its peak popularity. It was before they instituted the really bad algorithm and started charging people for boosting and all that other stuff. So Facebook was super popular. Not as many people hated it as they do now. And Google Plus tried to dethrone Facebook and didn't succeed. So if Google Plus, even if they came back with a new ad campaign or something, they could do it because they have the functionality. Google Plus, despite everyone complaining about it, works fine. It was just nobody was there, and people like, why would I do this when I already have Facebook? So that was their problem. So there you go. All right. Next story. I don't think we've talked too much about the New Mutants movie on this podcast, other than
Have we at all?
Well, other than to say that we were a little confused by that first trailer. I think.
Now I remember.
The New Mutants, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is coming out.
I forgot about that.
First of all, they've pushed. This is old news, but they've pushed the release date back to next year. It was supposed to come out next month or May or something, and it's actually going back to February 2019 now. So it's like a year away. And the reason now they've revealed the reason why they pushed it back so far is because they're doing reshoots to add a new character to the film, which I think is interesting. The issue with
Wolverine?
this, not Wolverine. I know that's all the jokes. All the jokes are being made about Wolverine, but it's like
saves every X-Men movie.
Well, I mean, people are. It's funny because what I thought would be the biggest blowback, being that they're framing this as a horror movie, isn't apparently by the online reaction. I don't like that about it. I was a huge New Mutants fan when I was a kid. I read the comic books regularly. And I was excited to hear they were making a movie out of it, but to take a kind of horror film stance on it seems weird. That being said, this is the same studio that did Deadpool, so they've taken chances that they've worked out before, so they're willing to do it again. So people are kind of speculating now as to which character is being added to the which of the New Mutant characters. Currently, they have. Do you know the New Mutant characters? Are you familiar?
Not really. I mean, I shouldn't say not really.
So,
I used to read.
Okay.
Some of that comic stuff, but I was more of a fan of the core X-Men.
X-Men, right. So the characters that are currently in the film, Magic, a.k.a. Colossus's sister, little sister Ileana. She has the power to, she has a somewhat metallic, she's an arm that gets armor on it, like her brother, but she also has this magic sword, and she can actually cross dimensions, so it's kind of like a more Doctor Strangey kind of thing. Cannonball, which was my favorite guy, because his power was just to fly super fast, and he basically has this force field around him when he flies. He can bust through anything. Super cool. Sunspot is a guy who he turns black. Looks a little bit like in his style. When he was first drawn, he reminded me of Nightcrawler, because he turns black and kind of pops with these little energy bubbles, and basically uses the power of the sun to increase his strength, super strength from the sun. And Mirage, Wolfsbane, who's essentially a werewolf. She turns into a wolf at will, though, not because of the full moon. And then Mirage is the leader, I assume, and she is an indigenous woman who can create Mirage, kind of pull a Luke Skywalker doppelganger thing there, where you can create a vision of yourself and not actually be there, make people think there's something's there when it's not. So those are the 5 core. That's the core team, by the way. That's the 5 core members of the team from early on. Some of the speculation is that Warlock might be involved. Warlock is an alien. He's a robot alien. Would be a very CGI-heavy character, so they figure that could be it, because it would take a long time to...
We have no announcement of a new actor?
No, that's it. And so people are wondering about that. The other ones that it could be, there's Boom Boom, who basically throw little energy bombs. Cypher. Cypher is a pretty... Cypher, the character doesn't look like much. He's just a blonde kid. But he can read any language, so he can instantly translate anything, which is really kind of a cool
Cypher,
power.
don't you get it? He's nothing. We'll be able to reduce costs and add another character.
Right. There's
Cypher.
nobody there.
That's right. Hey, who was that didn't help us in that last fight? That would have been Cypher. Maybe it's just somebody
That's right.
It's just really a prank on one of the New Mutants by all the other New Mutants.
That's right. They're all pretending that somebody's there when he's not.
That's
anyway.
right.
So anyway, that's I just think it's an interesting story. I'm going to follow this as it goes on, but I'm optimistic about the film. I do want to see a New Mutants film. I've always wanted to see a New Mutants film, but at this point, I don't like the idea of it being a horror movie, because it's absolutely not a horror movie or a comic. It's a straight up superhero team, but maybe they feel that we've had enough of that.
I'm worried that they're trying to teen it up for the kids, and that's what the tone looked like.
Yes, it's like another. It's like the Runaways. The Runaways was absolutely that, and I liked the Runaways, but it was very much a CW style show where there's kids and it's teenagers and that kind of thing. So that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, good for the teens, but the teens don't take in too much traditional entertainment anymore. So
they're not flocking to theaters.
That's what makes me wonder. I mean, I know everyone's joking about adding Wolverine, but it wouldn't surprise me if what they're adding is a legacy character. That wouldn't surprise me. To try to get so people like me won't look at the movie and go, "It's for teens,"
right?
So that I'll look at it and go, "Oh, okay, Nightcrawler." joint or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't surprise me.
Nightcrawler or Dazzler? Dazzler?
I doubt it.
No? Okay.
What, she's going to come skating out of the 70s to save?
Oh! You know who? Jubilee. I think Jubilee would be a good one.
Oh, Jubilee. That's
Jubilee
possible.
would be good. I think that would be
there
fun.
you go. Now we're
She's the younger too. Like if you think of the younger kind of, or even who's the one?
Has Havoc been in the movies?
Yes, Havoc has been in the new round of the.
See, I'm already.
He was in First Class, and he was
right,
in. I think he was in Apocalypse as well. The other one I'm thinking of is Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde with the little dragon. She can phase through things. I think we saw a brief glimpse of her in one of the X-Men movies. There was a clip in one of the like older ones of her like running through walls to go get something. So there's another younger member of the X-Men that could be transitioned to the New Mutants, but who knows? I really enjoyed Warlock as a character. I'm hoping it's Warlock. I really think that'd be cool to see what they do with him as far as translating him to the screen, because he was always kind of a visually compelling character to me. Last story today before we move on to our main topic. Apple, this is kind of funny because this is so old. The original Apple TV. You had the original Apple TV.
And how?
Do you still have it?
Yeah, it's sitting on a drawer, on a shelf.
Sorry to tell you that Apple is now disconnecting the first gen Apple TV from iTunes in May.
I did it. I'm already on it. I already disconnected it.
I know, but it was like decades, years ago. So why is it taking so long?
You know
for
why?
Them?
Because it has one killer feature that the other ones they never gave the other ones, and that was a big fat hard drive that you could download the movies onto.
Oh, okay.
And so it still has a feature that none of the other ones have, and so I will admit that I too was sort of like hanging on to it as because you didn't have to stream it.
Right.
You could download the whole movie and then just no problem. And that was back in the day when Wi-Fi was always bad.
Yeah.
So you kind of needed that. But then it also became like a nice way to watch movies that you never have to worry about it. It's always on the hard drive, sort of thing. So I will admit that I went well past its date in terms of using it. But it at a certain point it started acting a little sketchy, like the movies started flickering.
Oh, no.
and like there's some issues.
Yeah.
Let's just say. And so the writing was on the wall. And the new one, and not to mention, it was like a pretty big.
It is.
block.
I'm looking at a photo of it right here. And it's just giant compared to what the new ones are like.
I've never thrown it away though because I can't remember. I remember thinking, if somebody grabbed this, they get my credit card info or something.
Oh yes, okay.
So I was like, I gotta put the drill through it, or I gotta do something to it before I gotta decommission it before I throw it into the garbage. I think, but but that's why I think.
So, but I think it's funny that it took them this long to actually they are actually dropping this, and it seems like they're so quick to drop the phones off of the grid. Like an iPhone 5 is kind of like, which was not that long ago that iPhone 5 was a newer phone, is now not updated anymore. So it's just funny that it took them this long for the Apple TV.
Phones are disposable items that cost $1,000. Basically, they solved the big problem.
The Apple TV only costs a couple $100 and is more permanent.
That's right.
So that's weird that thing happens. Hey, people are not willing to spend as much money on the Apple TV
because we're carrying the phone around all day and it's getting worse and worse in our pocket from the moment we buy it. Like mine already has like the perma guck on the screen. You can never can't get rid of it at a certain point, and I think that's the first sign that your battery's starting to go.
All right, I think I'm ready to upgrade my Apple TV as well. I'm going to get the new one probably in the summertime. So
it's good. The new one's good.
Sure
I have and now that Wi-Fi is better than it used to be, it's not an issue.
I streamed. We're going to talk about our Oscar picks in a second. And I streamed an Oscar film nominee last night, just on my tablet, not to my Apple TV. But the streaming worked fine. There was no issues with that, and actually was much better than it has been in the past. So.
Excellent.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to make our Oscar picks for 2018 on the Media Nerds podcast. Okay, so we're not going to pick every winner for every category.
We're not going to torture people like we have in years past.
Arguing
about best costume design.
We are going to make picks for everything, but we're not going to make them all live on the podcast. So if you want to see our full list of Oscar picks, you can go follow us on Twitter at Dan Vadabonker, at Kenton Larson, at Nerds_podcast, and even at C Shifty. Let's throw Chris Schiffman in there because he is going to also be making the picks with us. He's usually the one who's here with us making these picks for Emmys and Oscars.
He suggested someone to fill in for him, and I said, Chris, it's you or no one.
Yeah, no.
You or no one. We're not gonna. What are we gonna do? We're gonna bring in a replacement,
like a scab Chris, or
that's what he was suggesting. It's like he doesn't like us or something.
There's a virtual Chris, unless you have like a clone of yourself. CGI. There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
So, by the way, that's my pick for best actor, CGI Logan.
That's right. What, Snoke? Not Snoke? Oh, CGI. I get it. Yeah.
CGI Logan. Yeah, better than actual Hugh Jackman acting is the CGI young version of him running around killing people.
Okay, we're gonna start with, and we're gonna go backwards, and we're gonna end with Best Picture because you said you have to think about.
Oh
that.
Yeah, because to me that is a 50-50 proposition.
And I've actually read that on a lot of pieces this last few weeks. Is that this is the most kind of up in the air field we've seen in years.
Because
Best
it's
Picture.
50-50, that makes I think, and we'll talk about it in a second. I think it also opens the door for a potential third candidate.
Upset, yeah.
That sneaks through because the other two split the vote.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that could happen just like an American presidential election. That could happen.
Okay, so let's start with cinematography because this is an important. We both like good cinematography. The nominees are Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and The Shape of Water. I've only seen 2 of these, and by the way, we're still working on our viewing. We've been watching movies every night almost.
Viewing movies has nothing to do with choosing Oscars, though.
I know.
It doesn't, because it's all about, but reading lots does.
I know.
And so I've read about all of these.
I have as well.
And I feel pretty ready.
I do too, but I will say this, whenever possible, I'm going to choose with my heart over my head.
Not me.
And I will do that when I can, but when I've seen enough of the films to make a judgment. And by the way, if I see something this weekend or over the next few days before the Oscars that changes my mind, I reserve the right to change a vote.
Well, when we tweet out our finished, completed
maybe we should
form,
wait till Sunday to do that. Okay, so
we will do that because I always fall in that trap too.
Yeah.
Because the day of, I start thinking about it.
Okay, because Chris has to make his little chart, so we got to give him time to make his chart. Anyway, okay.
Okay, well, maybe Saturday night. Maybe.
We'll see.
Saturday at 5
Depends on
o'clock.
how long he needs. Okay, so who do you think it will win best cinematography?
I'm going to say, and I think once again, just from, and I've seen 2 of these too, but just because I think the movie basically exists for cinematography, Blade Runner 2049.
Really?
I think it's going to get it.
I disagree. I think it's going to be Dunkirk.
I think that would be my second pick. I'm choosing the one that I think will win.
Okay,
as opposed to
I'm choosing the one I think will win as well.
Yeah, okay.
But it's funny because Chris called me out on Twitter and said not seeing Dunkirk in IMAX is a media nerd's crime, is what he called it. And after seeing it on TV on demand, I kind of agree that I probably should have seen that in the theaters. It's beautifully shot, absolutely beautifully shot. You cannot argue with that. And
I saw somebody
with arguably less special effects. I haven't seen Blade Runner yet, which is also crime against a media nerd's crime.
I've seen it,
but there's more special effects in that film because of the setting. Although there are special effects in Dunkirk. I think that probably less so than Blade Runner. So I think that's going to affect the award.
I saw yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter there was an Oscar voter saying he hates Dunkirk for one reason, and it's the whine of the plane engine that permeates the entire film. And I was like, I never really thought of that. And that would only be irritating if you saw it in the theater.
I guess
because that was something that I didn't
even notice that.
When I read that, I was like, oh yeah, like I was kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. But at the same time, watching it at home, it's not the same experience.
No, not at all.
So at an IMAX, that would be something that would be pretty noticeable.
Sounds like you just had a headache.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, we're going to skip a bunch because we don't care about any of the sound stuff or the song stuff.
Makeup and hairstyle. No, just kidding.
No, makeup and hair cares.
We're going to skip that.
Skip to you're going to make a documentary pick because you've seen almost all these documentaries.
Oh, and I think this one is it's a lock, I think. I don't think I'd be so surprised if any of the other ones win. Where is my documentary?
So documentary feature, the nominees are Abacus, small enough to jail.
Abacus,
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw that. I've seen all of them except for Faces Places,
okay,
which is available to buy, I think, on iTunes. So I might see that in advance. But Icarus.
You think that's going to be it?
That is the one on Netflix. Most people have seen it. And people have actually seen it, I should say, as opposed to some of these, in which case they haven't. And it's about Russian doping scandal. So the Olympics happened, the Russian meddling in the election. It's topical. I just think I'd be shocked if that didn't win.
Okay. I'm not going to make a pick in that category because I haven't seen any of them. Let's move on.
Go with Icarus.
Sure. I'll go with your pick. Animated feature, I'm going to say that now first I wanted to say Coco, because that is the Pixar film. It's been very, very widely reviewed as being one of their better movies. The other nominees are The Boss Baby, which is no way in hell good. I can't even believe that's nominated. It's funny. Jack said the other day that the Boss Baby is made more for adults than for kids because of the Alec Baldwin jokes.
Oh,
and he recognized the Glenn Ross joke that's in it, where cookies are for closers. He knows that reference from. He's never seen Glenn Ross, of course, but he knows the reference because he saw it on a YouTube video or something, which I think is hilarious that he actually knows.
That's funny.
That's the one joke that everybody laughs, all the adults laugh at because that's what Alec Baldwin was known for.
Right.
And then anyway. Okay, so there's Boss Baby, The Breadwinner, Coco, Ferdinand, Loving Vincent. I'm going to go with Loving Vincent, which I haven't seen, but I think that I've heard excellent things about it. I've heard it's very, very good. And I just think that they're going to go against the popular grain and not vote for Coco. You know, because I mean that would be the other one.
See, that's the one I have selected. Coco, knowing nothing of any of these, and just based on your description there, and on the fact that it's very popular.
Yeah, and that's not a bad pick.
No,
I mean, it could go either way.
I think it could go either way.
I'm just gonna say Loving Vincent, just because I've heard good things about it. Adapted screenplay. The nominees are Call Me by Your Name, The Disaster Artist, Logan, Molly's Game, and Mudbound.
I'm going with Call Me by Your Name.
I've not seen that yet. I've heard excellent things. I'm going to vote with my heart and not my head on this one and go with Logan because I loved Logan and I love that a comic book movie is nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. It's adapted from a comic book. Is it Old Man Logan? Is that the actual book? Billy's nodding. Yeah, so it is. It is Old Man Logan. So I'm going to go with Logan, but I don't think I'm going to be right.
I don't think it's impossible that it can win, but I think it's a long shot.
Okay, fair enough.
Like if it won, I wouldn't go, oh my God, I'm so shocked. I'd go, oh, okay, good for it. That's right, good for it.
All right, so let's move on to original screenplay. The nominees are The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And I've only seen them all except for 3 Billboards. So that's probably the category I've seen the most of here. So
I'm going with Get Out.
Okay, so Get Out. So, and you've said, this is your thing in the past, you said the winner of this one, the original screenplay one, is usually the one that should have, or that may have won Best Picture as well.
This is an exception to that rule.
Oh, you think?
Where I don't think Get Out is the best film of the year. I think it's a good film. It's a fun film. It's a fun film on a horror element, on a surface level, and at a deeper level, it has something to say about race relations in the United States. So I just think that it's not going to win anything else. So
really,
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I disagree with that statement. I'm going to go with The Big Sick here because I think that that's another one of this is the category for these kind of breakout movies. You know, Get Out was a breakout for Jordan Peele. The Big Sick was a breakout for Kumail Nanjiani and his wife, and I think that's the one that's going to capture the hearts and minds of the Academy, as it were, and that's the one they're not gonna want to face up to the racism thing yet. Although there's a little bit of racism jokes in the Big Sick as well, but I think this story is so touching, and it's more of a positive story than a negative, which Get Out is. Get Out's a freaky horror movie, but I think it's gonna win other stuff. So I'm gonna go with The Big Sick on that one. Okay, now we're on to the act. We're actually moving through this pretty quickly.
It's perfectly timed for my class that's gonna start soon.
On to Best Supporting Actor. I think now the nominees are Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I'm just grouping them together because it's the same movie. Richard Jenkins in The Shape of Water, Christopher Plummer, All the Money in the World. I am going to go out and say that I'm going to say, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm watching it tonight. I'm going to say Sam Rockwell.
It's a lock.
You think it's a lock?
It's a lock. It's 100% chance that he will win. I was going to say barring some horrible story coming out, but they voted already, right?
Yes.
I think
they voted already. So he could come out and be like sexually harassing people tomorrow and he'd still win.
That was what I thought of for every one of these that I selected. I was like,
really?
When do they vote? What are the odds that something terrible is going to come out?
I think if something terrible comes out, it's going to come out after, like it did for the Gold Globes and what's his face?
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not suggesting that Sam Rockwell did anything,
Certainly
but
not.
I meant for every single pick with what's going on in Hollywood right now.
You know that affected it because The Disaster Artist would have been nominated for way more than just adapted screenplay if James Franco had not been in the news after the Golden Globes. Okay, so that's actress in a supporting role. Mary J. Blige for Mudbound,
who my father used to call Martha Bilge.
Okay, Allison Janney for I, Tonya. Leslie Manville, Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, and Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water.
Allison Janney, 100%.
Really? I've not seen. Have you seen I, Tonya?
No.
Okay. I have not, but I have seen Lady Bird, which I watched last night, and I got to say, Laurie Metcalf is incredible. She's absolutely incredible in that role. It is one of the most realistically realized characters I've ever seen on film, and I'm gonna give it to her. I think that she's gonna take that. It might be a surprise because maybe more people are looking for Allison Janney, but I certainly don't think it's going to be Octavia Spencer. She doesn't do much than playing up a stereotype in that Shape of Water movie, and I haven't seen the other ones. So I'll go with Laurie Metcalf on that. So and then my wife will be happy about that because she's a big Roseanne fan, and she of course plays Roseanne's sister, and that's coming back as well.
I'll be seeing Lady Bird tonight, but I actually think I didn't want to see it before I chose because my brain tells me that Allison Janney will win. I really do think she will. It's for such a crappy
movie. I'm sure it's a fine movie, but I just don't like the idea of I, Tonya. Like, why are we making a movie about this stupid thing that happened? Too late. Let's say that. Too late. 20 years later, we're going to tell the story of how this figure skater sabotaged another figure skater. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But people can come back at me on Twitter and tell me why I'm an idiot if that's the case. Actor in a leading role. So we have Timothée Chalamet in Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis, Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya in Get Out, Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington, Roman J. Israel Esquire. I've only seen one of these.
Once again, 100% Gary Oldman.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I just we're not at odds this week.
The
year.
Oscars love a physical transformation. They love it.
Come on,
they will not be able to resist.
Not always.
I'd actually bet money on this one. I'm so confident.
Okay. We'll bet coffee. Let's bet coffee.
All right.
Okay, we'll bet a coffee.
All right. For a coffee and $100 bill in the coffee.
I think it's going to be Daniel Kaluuya for
not a chance
for Get Out. I think that's the one that's going to win.
Not a chance.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, I like that. I like it when we choose different ones. It makes it more exciting.
Gary Oldman is playing Winston Churchill in a year full of Winston Churchill performances. Come on.
Yeah, Lithgow got it for the Golden Globes, and now he's going to get it for the Oscar.
Oh my God! Why is 2017 Winston Churchill?
Hollywood loves Britain. They love Winston Churchill. They love a physical transformation.
Oh boy!
Oh, they love all of it.
But it's not like did he actually gain weight for this, or is it all makeup?
Who knows? They're going to love it. They're going to eat it up.
Like they liked it when Robert De Niro gained all the weight for Raging Bull. That was something they loved when an actor's willing to sacrifice their own health and well-being for the role. That they like that commitment. I don't think they admire 8 hours in a makeup chair as much. Otherwise, what's this week to be nominated for Shape of Water?
I just think they can't. Remember, we're talking about the Academy, which gave Best Makeup to Cyrano de Bergerac just because they added a plastic nose on the end.
No, that's true.
So they love that.
I just hope they've evolved since then. It's been a long time.
No, they haven't.
It's been a long time since then. All right, actress in a leading role. We have Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards, Margot Robbie, I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan. Did I say that correctly, Sky? That's one of our students who told me that I was messing it up. And the every year she's up for something. Meryl Streep for The Post, which is probably one of these Best Picture nominees I'm going to watch last. I have no desire to see The Post. I'll watch every other one of these, but The Post, I'm like, oh, come on. Do I have to watch this before I don't think it's going to win anything. And I'm just not,
I'll probably never watch it because it's not going to win anything.
I mean, I'll watch it because it's kind of about it's about newspapers and journalism and stuff, but I just don't.
There's a real documentary on it.
I know there is. I know.
Why? Who cares?
I know. Okay. I think it's going to be. Did I pick last time? Yeah, no, you did. I think it's going to be Frances McDormand.
I do too.
Okay, she is
100%.
Yeah, I think that's a lock. I don't think there's any chance.
So far, all of these ones that we've just done, I'm 100% confident, and I will be shocked if it's anything other than what I had said there. Yeah, I feel very good about those. Now we're getting into an area that I'm not feeling too good about.
Well, now it gets into we have to think about the film director, and it's always, what do you think they separate director and best picture? Why are those two different categories in this? Director
and picture?
Yeah.
Because traditionally it's the director is the person who makes it all happen, so they're worthy of separate recognition, especially in a world where we're giving awards to makeup and costume
and the best picture is
that's the person standing there whose vision it all
right, and the best picture is like the movie that kind of brings all these elements together in the best way.
Well, who knows how you can vote for best picture for whatever reason you like.
You just liked it better than the other ones. And that's probably what a lot of people think to themselves. I just liked it better.
Well, there's a certain level of, we know that they like drama. We know that it's got to be over 2 hours long.
Doesn't Lady Bird isn't.
We know that, but it's not going to win. So
you don't think Lady Bird's going to win? I don't either.
So let's do director.
Okay, director: Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, and Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water.
I'm saying it's Guillermo del Toro's year.
I am going to agree with you as well. I've seen the film; it is beautifully shot.
Well, I feel better about it that you selected it too.
Yeah, I think it is his year as well. He's been nominated before, has he? I don't think he's won. Pan's Labyrinth. He won for Pan's Labyrinth, but that was a foreign film.
Was that it?
I believe so. Pan's Labyrinth was technically a foreign film, and I believe he won for that. It won Best Foreign Film, which is not the same thing.
Right.
But he has been nominated before, and he's a brilliant director. And I like the idea of this movie being nominated because it's essentially a creature. It's like Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's pretty much what it is. I like the fact that he did this and got people to buy into it as an Oscar-nominated movie. That being said, I don't love it. It's not my favorite of these movies that I've seen so far. But I do think it is his year, and I do not think it will win Best Picture. That's my opinion. Okay, so now we have a billion nominees. What do you think? Before we get into this, what do you think about this idea? We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before as far as 9 nominees for Best Picture.
Well, that's how you get upsets. That's what makes it exciting.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and it also... Well, I mean, I personally don't think they need 9, but I understand why we have 9.
Is this anything but... is this just a marketing scheme to get people to go out and see more movies?
Oh, that's part of it, too. That's part of it too.
They're also. We should know that they're being much better this week. Everything's available to rent, almost everything, except for the one that you mentioned there earlier.
Well, Shape of Water is only available to buy.
Oh, is it?
To buy only, not to. I think I'm pretty sure.
Did I buy it?
I think you probably did. I think it's $24 to buy it, or it's $6 to rent it.
Okay. Well, that's what I rented. Lady Bird. I'm sure I rented Lady Bird last night.
Yeah, I rented 3 billboards last night.
Anyway, but a lot of these. So hopefully, Shape of Water will come out. Although I guess it can't until next week because they still adhere to this ancient system of like new release Tuesdays. Again, there's no relevance to that. You know what was an exciting day at Blockbuster? A new release Friday. That was exciting. Because sometimes movies would come out on Friday.
Yeah.
And that was exciting. Armageddon came out on video on a Friday. That was a good Friday for me. I had fun that Friday.
Was it literally Good Friday?
It was not literally. It was not literally Good Friday, but it was a Friday, and I had a good time renting that movie. And then I took it home and watched it. Okay, so
Best Picture. Or did you say who? Oh no,
did I say them all?
Yeah,
no, I did not say them all. Okay, Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
You go first.
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is what I think is going to win.
Okay, just in the split second before we got to the category, I think this is going to come down between The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards. I think it's going to be really close, and I think they might actually split the vote in the end.
I get that. Okay.
So I think Dunkirk is the dark horse that could break through the other 2. So this is a real tough one for me, but I'm going to also say 3 Billboards. It just seems to have momentum.
But he's building, ladies and gentlemen, he's building a buffer in case he's wrong. He's going to say, "Well, I did see that."
No buffer.
No buffer.
I live or die by this sheet.
Okay, there you go.
And actually, I'm looking at it, and I already know where I'm going to live or die: production design, film editing, and visual effects. Which is always like, oh my god, you never know. Are we going to do it? Or
no. We'll do it off camera. We'll do it off camera, or off tape. It's funny because there's other ones in here like Baby Driver's nominated for sound editing. I would love to see Baby Driver win an Oscar. And yeah, we'll get it. But those sound awards are so confusing to me. Original song, I haven't heard any of these songs that I can think of. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
I chose Coco just because I don't have a clue.
I don't have a clue either, but I'll pick those off air. Before we go, I do want to make recommendations this week because although we have been overwhelmed with Oscar films, and that is what we're watching this week, there is a film that I want to watch in case you're out there. You've already seen all the Oscar nominees. You want to see another movie, and I do want to talk about this in more detail next week because I want to talk about Netflix. But this week, my recommendation is that people go check out Mute on Netflix. It is the latest film from Duncan Jones. And I would not have known about it had I not heard him on Mark Maron this past week. It was a very awkward interview with Mark Maron trying to sneak in questions about his dad, about David Bowie, every chance he got. And you could tell Duncan Jones is getting a little mad about it.
I listened to it.
So it's like, listen, guy, when I'm not my, you know what I mean? I'm like, he's my dad, I'm my own guy kind of thing. But I liked the interview. I love the movie. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, what'd you think?
Not all of it. The beginning of it.
Oh,
I didn't like it.
Really? You got to watch the whole thing. You can't. I know that it's slow to start.
I gave up. It is slow to start.
It is slow to start, absolutely, but it gets so interesting by the end, and the characters, especially Paul Rudd and Jordan Theroux, those two guys do a great job kind of transforming their characters from beginning to end. And I even quite enjoyed Eric Skarsgård as the mute, as the titular character. And it's a cool world he's built. The world doesn't really have anything to do with the story. It's just kind of the setting, this futuristic Berlin that they're living in. But I did quite enjoy it. So all this being said, I did a few weeks ago recommend that people watch Cloverfield Paradox, and I now withdraw that recommendation because I've now thought about it a little bit more, and I realized how shitty that movie was. But
I'll watch the end of Mute. I'll watch it.
No, it's good. It's good. It is like I love Paul Rudd in anything, but he's good in everything. But he's especially good in this kind of role of a. Again, I'm sure you got the kind of. Did you watch far enough to get the MASH references?
No.
Okay, well, there's a little bit of MASH references.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. How far did you watch?
Not very.
Jeez, like you didn't even get it like 20 minutes in?
No.
Okay, watch it.
I gave up.
Oh man, this is the world we live in. This is what happens. Do you have anything to recommend this week?
Well, let me say I wasn't going to recommend this, but I am now. Moon. Directed by Duncan Jones,
yes,
and starring Sam Rockwell,
and
Oscar nominee.
There you go.
And I actually think Sam Rockwell probably should have got a nomination for that.
He didn't get nominated for that?
I don't think he did.
Oh, he should have,
and
absolutely.
I think Moon is maybe my favorite sci-fi movie from the last decade.
It's very good.
And I just love it. And I consider Duncan Jones' film career after that to be disappointing.
Well, the only other one he's done was it Warcraft? Was that the other one he did?
Yeah,
that was
and he did.
I didn't see that.
There's another one.
Okay.
There's another one in there too.
I would say, and apparently Mute is the film that he's been holding on to for longer than Moon, and it is set in the same world as Moon. So at the same time as Sam Rockwell was on the moon with his buddies there, this is happening on Earth in Berlin,
right?
In the seedy underbelly of a futuristic Berlin.
Yes, there's a tie-in going on there, but I'm gonna have to go to class soon, but. But this is what I would say. What I'm worried is that Mute is a disappointing film taking place in the Moon universe. But you would not say that?
I would say. I mean, I'm
afraid it'll spoil my love of Moon.
No, it's really if anything, it's I don't even know how it's related to Moon. It doesn't become apparent in the film.
Okay.
So it's not.
Oh.
So watch it.
Okay, then
not as good as Moon, but pretty good.
All right.
Okay.
I take you at your word.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Media Nerds Podcast. Go to MediaNerdsPodcast.com for our full podcast, blog, and social media channels.